We have Krishan here on the floor today, and we will be discussing some quick ideas, concepts, his vision in the design industry in India. And welcome, Amber, for this UX India discussions. And we are very pleased to have you here.
Sri, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So, Amber, while we are discussing about the vision of design that is happening there, I first have to start with the entrepreneurship that you have experienced, and I want that to get out, let people understand, learn, have courage. What kind of stuff that you tried, and where do you want to head it? Entrepreneurship, whatever it is. How do you want to orient people for this?
See, entrepreneurship is a lifestyle choice.
Okay.
Right. And I always interact with students in universities, and many often they come up with the question that, how did you and what did it take for you to get into, building your own companies, etc. I think my driving force was always wanting to do something of my own. Building something of my own philosophy, own frameworks, own approach, my own way of giving value to the world. That was fundamental around that. But a wrapper on this, and the most critical part, was a very strong sense of business. Okay. So very often people are told that if you want to become an entrepreneur, you should be passionate and follow your passion. I disagree. Okay. Because fundamentally, when you get down to actually building a business, it's about cash flows, it's about P&L, it's about understanding things which typically you don't cover as part of a design curriculum or as part of your design vocation in any company as well. It's very important to understand it's actually something very, very different. Yeah. So if you're ready for that, if you're ready for becoming very savvy with business, agnostic of whether it's a design services business or an IT services business or it's something else that you are selling as part of that, but the fundamentals of running a business tend to remain the same, then you're probably suited to go in that direction. But if you're thinking that you will probably get to do more of something that you are passionate about, think about it. Right? Mm-hmm. That is that. Now, the takeaway for most people in this context is that everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. They can also be something called an intrapreneur. Yep. Okay? And it's a very important term because how do you make impact in the organizations that you are part of? Because if you look at what design does in most companies, it's heterogeneous. Every company does not see design the same way. Some company looks at that UX people will do marketing as well. Or in some companies, the UX and UI designer is the same thing and is also the product manager because they're writing stories as well.
That's true.
Right? In some companies, you are only going to sit and make, Figma for the wireframe with the CEO is going to sketch and give to you. This is all true. This is the reality of what design is. Design is not one thing across organizations. In fact, when you look towards joining an organization, you first need to understand that when people are putting up a job profile, what do they actually mean? What do they want out of you? What will they actually make you do? Be very clear about that. The second thing is, since design is often looked at as an execution profession in an organization, it's also important for you to be the ambassador, for you to be the champion of that work, to educate often your senior leadership, to make a place for why you and your entire team will be recognized in that entire company. Question is, how do you do that? You have to think about branding yourself. You have to think about internal showcasing of case studies of what you have done. You're thinking about creating structure and methodologies of how you approach these things. Why is this important? Because this is what we do when we're doing entrepreneurship also.
Yeah, very true.
This is what we sell to clients. So when you do this internally in organizations, you have to pretty much act the same way. And when you do that, and this is from my example in the previous organization that I've worked with. I was not always entrepreneur. I was in multiple jobs across my career, across multiple countries. In all of those places, I had to work hard to make a place for my team, for design to be recognized, and for designers to be able to deliver that value which they can, and not ending up just being Figma operators.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a daily routine as well. And I know, I mean, you build your them from design. Now you are getting into Futurris.
Yeah.
You are already there, of course, but this journey from design, and of course these are very parallel tracks. You might be sometimes in this part of the journey, sometimes it's like running between the two different boats. Now you into the Futurris now. How are you, because this is a theme of UX India 25, how are you integrating AI solutions in your daily routine jobs? How are you making your people, and of course encouraging people to use it, and what are the nitty-gritties, risk that you have seen at this point in time?
It's a fantastic question, and the reason for that is the genesis of Futurris came from a lot of questions I was getting from clients when I was building them.
Okay.
And clients were asking, so AI is here. Can you put AI? How do you do that? How can you build us a chatbot? How can you get us onto the metaverse? How can you do this? How can you do that? Customer behavior is doing. How do you do that? So the Futurris, the company's name is made of two words. It's made of future and is.
Yeah.
So we help define what the future is. So we said, let's build a company to answer for clients. How should your future be? How your product's future should be? How your customer's future should be? So we help them in that aspect. So AI is very integral of that. Because while the technology has come, it requires demystifying for our clients as well. That how do you embrace this? How do you make sense of that? And initially, when people were interacting with us, their perception was that AI is a cost saver. Okay, AI is a cost optimization exercise. You will be able to put in AI and you will be able to fire people. Simple. That was the mathematics in that. So you reduce call center or other areas, and you look at the entire CX cycle, the life cycle, and you find opportunities within which you can embed AI and you save cost. The conversations I'm trying to have, and which is why Futurris works towards that, is that how AI is not a cost saver, it's an opportunity of entirely re-looking at the paradigm. For example, if you're looking at how e-commerce is done online, a lot of them actually are using the Shopify templates or Magento templates or Adobe Experience Manager and building on top of those different things. But fundamentally, it is copy of the same catalog system. Nobody's revisited the fact that is this the best way to digitally sell something. But the fact that you have some AI technologies, you can use this as a foundation and you can revisit how digital selling should be done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is the kind of value that we are embedding AI into. And my 2 cents to my design community, my brethren over there, is the output of AI or any emerging technology is not a cool new shiny set of tools for you. That Lovable has come and something else has come, and we don't need to be adulating tools, because tools will come to you, tools will go. Shri, you and I have both done this, and I always tell people, when we started designing, we were designing in PowerPoint.
Absolutely. Wireframes used to be in PowerPoint.
In PowerPoint.
Sometimes we VDs as well.
Then Photoshop, yeah, sometimes VDs, then Photoshop, etc. And this changed, etc. But what has remained fundamental is an ability of being able to transform business value for customers. And with AI coming in, the opportunity is 100x bigger.
Maybe, yep. That's the minimum one. People are expecting at least 100x to 1000x. That's the speed that they're actually expecting. Now, I mean, we already are talking about future because of Futurris. I would also like to know your vision. I know the patriotism that you're carrying. I mean, and that too with the design. I mean, your design, then on top of it, the patriotism. We heard Kirti sir yesterday talking about the origin of India, the origin of design in India, and how we have to enroot again back to this to make this soil again flourish for the next level. India as an innovation for the design again.
Yeah.
How do you see that future, and what are the things that you see as an opportunities for the next generations? Very, very clear.
So opportunity is huge. Yeah. Straight out there, opportunity is huge, but the mind shift is required. We were always trained to build experiences on the SDLC model. And for those of you who may be watching this, don't know what that means, is software development lifecycle model. And fundamentally, the way the model used to work is then you go to your stakeholder gives requirements, so this is all the things which are required. Then there is a BA, and the BA will convert those requirements into a feature list and convert that into phases. And then there's a feasibility check in terms of what the cost, etc. is going to be. Once that is signed off by the stakeholder, then it's given to design team. Design team will do an information architecture exercise and then convert that into pages.
That's the conventional way.
And then you stitch the pages together, and then you test and you put it out there and see what happens around it. The world has changed because your customers are not interacting with products this way. Your clients are expecting more and more revenue out of that. And this way of building products itself is becoming stale. Now, if you look at designers were trained on the UX process. Where does this come from? UX process fundamentally is two philosophies. Either is Nielsen Norman started something on that, or it's Alan Cooper model. Now, these models were built as optimization process here. They were built to optimize in the context of the SDLC process. That how do you decrease clicks? How do you make things easier? Because now you have pages you have to stitch together anyway. Might as well make them easier. Maybe people can click and find things better. So findability is those things were the focus in that point of time. But the time has changed. The time has changed because findability, ease of use is basic hygiene. You can download this basic hygiene available anywhere.
Absolutely.
So companies who are doing that kind of work are not differentiating. So what is required is newer ways of innovating, or new ways of creating customer behavior.
That's why these design-led things are now running.
Exactly. But there is no real framework for this. What is an opportunity is that the Indian design community and the Indian tech community has gained so much experience. We've been building our own products for a very long time. We have built products now which are globally superior. UPI being one example.
Best. Yeah.
Right? We built many such products which are extremely amazing. You do not get such services in the entire world. It's time for us to be able to teach the world. We can make our own frameworks. So everything is right. Our design population has learned. Our tech population can add a lot of value in terms of this. At the same time, the world is changing. You don't need to build things in an SDLC way. All this comes together, gives an opportunity of building our own frameworks, that this is the right way of building products for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. That is something definitely happening, and it is supposed to be there. But there is, I see a small gap. I mean, we have that vision. But in terms of, we are always there to mentor the next generation, but what are the things that they have to carry inherently? What do you see that is there? As in India, as a soil, as a people from the India, there are things that they are already carrying. Do you see that as a match?
I think the most important thing is self-respect.
Okay.
I think the most important thing for the community to carry is self-respect. We've always been on the side where we are being taught. Our education institutes are being taught such that they teach us.
Yeah.
So the pedagogy itself is something which has to be revisited.
Okay.
And that comes from self-respect. The self-respect, if it says that, okay, this is okay. And we have enough people in the leadership across the country, design leadership, which can say now, okay, fine, we understand what this is. It's not rocket science, we understand it. There is a better way. And then we have to revisit the pedagogy across design schools. And then, okay, what's the different way of doing this? And and build products, build case studies to show that this works, then the world will follow.
That's super way. I mean, that is something we as a schools, I mean, not specific to design school, but we as a Indian school, the design school, have to learn, practice. You know, it's okay to deviate, but it's important that to be on a track, on a course, to ensure that world is getting it out somewhere. Thank you so much for this interesting discussion. It was a very short and a very interesting part that we had today. I have one last question.
Sure.
And I want you to give me an answer in one word, seeing in that camera.
Okay.
The question is, how do you find UX India 2025?
I think UX India 2025 has been an eye-opener.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. So thank you guys. I mean, we are having the fantastic discussions carrying forward again with the next people as well. And thank you, Amber, for your precious time here today. We are very much honored to have you here. Thanks a lot again.
Thanks for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.